Oh, good evening. Hello, both. How are we
Oh, yeah.
feeling after that win again on the weekend?
Overjoyed. We're recording a bit
Overjoyed?
late, so it's the raw excitement has fizzled away. It's Thursday now, but no, still ecstatic. It's still one of my favorite Ospreys games, certainly of the last 3, 4 seasons, maybe ever. And that was partially down to there being no commentary on the stream, which just made
Yeah,
it feel like you were in the stadium. But yeah, feeling great, feeling great.
yeah, still basking in the glow of that win, aren't we? I think, despite it being nearly a week later, as you say, it was a superb game and what a finish.
Yeah.
I feel slightly bad because I was on parent duty on Saturday, or I would have paid to watch it. I'm not gonna lie. So I was sat in the car with a cup of coffee while my mum was doing her thing, and I was keeping an eye on Twitter,
Hmm.
and I saw the first score, and I was like, oh, bugger, they've gone over for the first try. Here we go again. And then I kept checking and kept checking, and there were about 4 or 5 minutes to go. And my mum got back in the car, and I was like, oh, they've lost. And then next thing you know, I get the WhatsApp from Rod, oh my heart, oh my voice. And I'm like, what are you on about? We were losing with like 2 minutes to go. What's the deal?
More than
And
one
then
score down at
yeah,
that
and I
point.
logged back onto Twitter then, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man, we won. And she was like, oh, there's lovely, love. Thanks, ma'am. And then, of course, then comes the panic of thinking, are we going to get a home tie? Are we going to have to go away? Rod then is like the pod stato and like sent us some scribbled notes, Mark, didn't he?
He did very, very
But can I
detailed.
And
say those were
Yeah.
completely wrong, and I'm never attempting again to
you
try and
need an Excel
calculate
spreadsheet, babes.
the.
That's what you need.
Honestly, I thought I had it. I was so confident that I had it. I
Confident.
put it out on Twitter. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Nobody
Kept you
listens
busy
to me.
though,
I'm an
didn't it? Kept you
idiot.
busy.
Thank you, though, to James Reese from the other Ospreys podcast, because he did send me a message, which I did tweet out late on Saturday. I did watch it on Saturday night at 9 o'clock on SOC. And I'm going
Mm.
to test my Welsh now. S4C.
Yeah, it's a good start.
I know. Um, and there was some Welsh commentary, which I understood some of. But it was really nice that I could hear like the players on the field, I could hear the supporters, I could hear the music, and I could hear Duncan doing his little nat on the side of the pitch, which I
Yes.
thought was amazing.
And if you left the stream, like when it went dead at the end, and it was just the footage, and there was no more interviews, and there was no more, game being played. 20 minutes after, it was still just trickling over with the high on the stadium shot. You could
Yeah,
hear Mark Jones just talking to
yeah,
some people. Yeah, yeah. And I only caught it sort of in the corner of my ear, as it were, and didn't like zone in on what he was saying. And at that point, I couldn't scroll back. But he
yeah,
was clearly having some like post-match conversation with, I don't know, staff, squad, or somebody. And it was
yeah.
really cool that it was just able to pick up on all that.
And
How
I loved hearing
random
the
the
rest.
Yeah, it was good. How random were Poe's band though? The stuff that
Oh,
they
they
were
did
playing,
not
it was sort of
stop.
in the background peripheral, and then next minute it was sort of these are the days, my friend.
Days, my
Thinking,
friend Mary
what on earth are they playing
Watkin.
that for in the middle of a rugby match?
But
And then
she
Yeah.
was Welsh. Mary
yeah,
Watkins was a Welsh folk singer.
they
So
played
I'm
such
in
random
bed
stuff. It was unbelievable.
That's
watching,
half
and
of
then
what
my
they
mum
were
had gone,
doing.
they're playing Mary Watkin. And
Yeah.
then he was like, no, they were playing na 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 na. So whatever, to be honest, I was drunk most of the 90s, so I do remember that song, but not in great detail. Um,
Half of what they were doing was just taking popular music, increasing the BPM, and it
yeah.
suddenly just made it sound like a mariachi tune from the
Yeah.
1970s.
Imagine if we had a mariachi band. It would be amazing. The Ospreys
We
mariachis.
we need to do a call out to an Ospreys
We need
brass
a
band to
band.
come and play. Yeah, yeah.
I
Just
don't
make
want
a bit more
Sonia and a
noise.
trumpet,
Yeah.
but we need a band.
Yeah,
A,
that'd be
a
good.
band that can drown out bloody Ozzy and his massive drum.
Oh yeah, Ozzy in his drum. He'd be like that. He's my boy. Every time he walks past me in the stadium, he always waves to me because I blow him a kiss. Um, and I just, but yeah, if we can have a band, And if we can have a band for the Scarlets playoff game, that would be amazing.
The problem is finding a band. Obviously, they're going to be fans, aren't they? Ideally, but if you're playing constantly, you're not going to be able to watch and appreciate the game. So maybe it's a case of the Ospreys genuinely reaching out to a local
Getting the
brass
band.
group
Brass
and
band,
giving
yeah.
them free tickets. So at least it's a bit more worth it.
Is
They're
there
not
a
spending their
local
own
brass
money just to
band?
miss a game.
Do we have one?
There must
There
be.
must
That
be. There must be a
there's got to
band.
be.
I was
I'll look
gonna I was
into
gonna
that.
bring this up towards the end of the podcast when we get onto our little
Well, we've got
music
this to
sing song
discuss
section.
later, haven't we? We've got a bit of
Yes.
hooliganism to discuss later. So, do you know what I loved on Saturday? We didn't give up. We fought to the 80th minute.
Yeah.
We just didn't give up. We could have easily mentally folded. That showed some mental and physical, just like you're away from home, you haven't got the support. That's some mental strength, but there, isn't it?
Yeah, because we were
Oh,
in control of the game, weren't we? And then they scored a couple of quick tries. Our heads could have gone at that point, being behind, having been looking so comfortable till that point. And then to still come back then with two tries in the last five or whatever it was just superb, as you
Yeah,
said. Just that mentality of it was back to, I know Toby's gone now, whatever, but it's back to so many performances last year under Toby where the game looked like it was gone and we found a way, and it was
yeah.
back to find a way again this weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah, they came flying out the blocks, pal, and they had me scared for that first 10 minutes. But we really quickly just sort of tightened up that game, stopped playing to their advantage, and we continued to do that bar a couple of, little blips for the remaining 70 minutes. We identified their threats really, didn't we? Namely their fast wingers, and
Mm.
we basically, what was his name? Theo something, and we basically played him out of the match. We identified early that he was a threat, and then we just didn't kick to him. When he did get the ball in open space, we closed that space up really quickly,
Yeah.
and we just suffocated him and the rest of the team as well. He wasn't the only one. We
yeah,
it was a class sort of tactical reading of the game and execution of our own game plan, I think.
yeah,
Yeah, the sort of defense was quite ferocious at times. There was one passage of play, wasn't there, where they were down close to the 5 meter line, I think, and by the time they'd sort of been driven back and back and back with just tackles, I remember Cassende sort of driving somebody back, and then Hardy, as I can't remember who it was, and they were back nearly to the halfway line or whatever, having been threatening, and that was happening throughout, wasn't it? Just that sort of determination of saying,
Yes.
"No, not today."
Yes,
nice
yeah,
to see Combia back and nice to see him scoring because
Yeah,
yeah,
it was a lovely try. It was really nicely done and executed.
yeah.
And Rod, you've done some lovely stats this week for us as well, haven't you, with regards
Mm.
to a couple of the players, and we posted them out on Twitter, and some real big performances
Yeah,
there,
massive. Yeah,
real
yeah.
big performances.
Hmm.
And I think it's when you see the bare bones and those bare figures, that is when you see how much of an impact people make and their, I don't want to say their worth or their value, but you can see the work rate, you can see the effort that they're putting in because they're doing those little things that perhaps we don't always recognize without seeing the figures. Um, and, that's something that I, as a fan and as your fellow podcast host, Rod, I thought those tweets this week were fantastic,
yeah, good.
and really well received by people out there on Twitter as well.
Mm.
Um, with regards to breaking it down for people. Um, and
Yeah,
how
thanks.
about
I got to give a shout out to Hugh Griffin from, I think he's HG Rugby now on Twitter, because he
yeah,
pointed me in the direction of some um, good resources to just sort of access that stuff. And um, I've, there's only so many ways that you can display stats in a tweet in 280 characters. So, it looks like I'm almost replicated his tweets identically, but that's the only way that I can really get put across. So big shout out to you for just like helping me with
thank
that,
you,
and
Hugh.
we'll do
Yeah,
more of that in the future because it went down well, didn't it? It went down really well.
It did, and
Um,
I like that kind. Like I couldn't even, like I'm gonna say, I am not the world's most logical person ever, and I'm not good with figures and stuff like that. So seeing stuff like that visually really helps me to see
Hmm.
things.
Yeah.
Um, and it was great to see that work rate. Um,
I mean, the
you
sort of
know,
Jack Morgan figures were just insane, weren't they? Absolutely
Yeah.
nuts with
So
this sort of tackle
nice.
count and everything. I mean,
yeah.
there was somebody on
Th-
Twitter last week, I can't remember who it was, saying that they don't think that Jack Morgan is world class and he's overrated and this, that, and the other.
Scarlett's
When you
fan.
watch him playing every week and he's putting on those kind of performances week in, week out, um, and he's head and shoulders above so many sevens, isn't he, in
Oh,
World
it's a
Rugby?
wild comment to make. Wild
Yeah,
comment to make. Yeah.
absolutely.
I I've been feral this week, as we know, because I've just clapped back on Twitter, not in a bad way and not, thing, but I just can't do stupidity anymore, guys. I think I've reached that age of 47 as a woman, and I've decided now I'm less Taylor Swift and more Alanis Morissette. So, pee me off on your pair out on Twitter. Um, but it was an absolute head scratcher that this person had posted that this Scarlet's player was better. And I think I did actually post and say, "Are you tapped in the head?" And it was amazing then seeing other Scarlets fans pile in and be like,
yeah.
mate, you're mental. I get that you love Scarlets and I get that you love our players, but you are mental in posting that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a proper rugby fan, you just recognise class, don't you? And that's the only way to describe Jack is class
Yeah,
Yeah.
in everything he does, in
you
attack,
Yeah.
in
can't.
defence, work rate, everything. He's just absolute class, isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was to
you can't
dive
be having
into
like
those
a
then. He had 30 tackles, 30 out of 31, but you can't lambast the man for missing one tackle when you're putting in 30. And he was first from both sides. All these stats are across both teams, not just the Ospreys. So he's first in number of tackles. Person in second wasn't even close. Five of those were dominant tackles. He had two turnovers. Obviously, he went over for that short range try. He had that gorgeous pass, didn't he,
jackal.
to set up Combia's the first try,
Yeah,
that when it looked like he was going to get smashed, and he just flicks it on in that tip brick style almost. Yeah, beautiful. Um, yeah, those stats they're just incredible. 30 tackles, man. That's superhuman stuff.
yeah,
I did a tweet comparing him to the Terminator. Um,
yeah.
he's
It
not
went a
here
bit
to kill Sarah Connor. He's here to absolutely flatten any opposition in front of him.
it all went a bit Wang Chung with the Terminator gifts after that,
I
didn't
did a
it?
little
Yeah,
bit,
Because
yeah.
it was like it went a bit
never enough.
downhill after that.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
Totally.
fault. I think I was the first one to post the "I'll be back," and it just went downhill from there.
It
Then,
just went from there then, didn't it? It spiraled. Um, and like I know we'll get on to a little bit of Welsh stuff later, but how good were those pictures of him in the Coliseum for the Six Nations?
as a background, that was amazing, wasn't it? As a backdrop to the competition,
He
Yeah.
absolutely.
just looked class. There was
Yeah.
no, I gotta say, the Italian captain. Oh my God. Wow. He's pretty, like literally pretty. And they had him walking down a catwalk, but just to see them all there in front of the Coliseum, what a background, and then to see the picture of him by himself,
Yeah, it was
it
Mm.
class. Yeah,
it did make me post the gladiators, are you not
Yeah.
entertained? Because he's just so entertaining to watch, so lovely
yeah,
to
Yeah.
watch.
Big Jim
And
Hamilton tweeted that he'd love to see a Rugby World Cup in Italy, in Rome. And I agree. Has there been one there before? Not in my
no,
memory. No,
no, there
that
no,
wasn't.
would be incredible, wouldn't it? It would be great for the country itself as a rugby nation, but also just that scene. Imagine the publicity that they could get out of that.
Yeah,
where
and
am
then
I
the
going to
last
be in two
decent.
weeks' time?
Oh, don't show off now.
I
Tell
know.
me that.
Rubbing it in
I'll be having a little Aperol spritz by the Trevi Fountain. Not
now.
getting arrested this time. Um,
Bring me back a bottle of limoncello. I'll love you forever.
Deadly serious, yeah. Any particular brands or makes? Because I don't know. I'm just going to go and buy shit in the spot.
Nice one. Nice one.
Yeah.
Sicilian lemon one. They
Right.
do the
Okay.
best
You're going to
lemons.
have to message me this because
Make
I
an
will
order.
therefore bring you something back. Like, God's honest, you will
Better
have
than a
a bottle of
fridge magnet,
limoncello.
isn't it? Something you can get drunk off.
Love a fridge magnet. I really do. And obviously the other stats that you sent out about
Yeah, do you want me to
Casende,
rattle through them quickly
go for
Yeah,
it.
go on.
for people who missed it? So Morgan Morse, in my opinion, had his best, or you could maybe say his most influential
Yeah.
Mm.
game yet in an Ospreys jersey, in an Ospreys seniors jersey, I should say. 15 carries for 74 meters. He was the only forward from both sides to get over 30 meters carried, and he almost tripled that, or certainly doubled it and a bit. Six defenders beaten. He was first for that, and one turnover. So he was just everywhere. For a 20-year-old, he's so physically dominant. He's smashing people aside,
Yeah.
and his
Just
break for
look.
the final
Yeah.
try,
Yeah.
showing exactly why he's going to be an international number 8 in the future.
Just looks
Um,
so athletic, didn't he? Whenever he had the ball in hand,
yeah,
he just looks like a specimen, doesn't he? Sort of just the way he carries and looks for
yeah,
the offload all the time. That was the other real sort of standout of the game generally on Saturday was the amount of offloading that we did.
like a
Yeah.
The team.
Faletau, a
Yeah,
natural ball handler as
yeah,
well as a runner.
definitely. Yeah, no, he
Yeah,
was superb. Yeah, real standout.
And it's a
yeah,
shame he's just slightly out of the under 20s age range now, isn't he? He's just
yeah.
He's in
aged
that.
out.
Yeah,
Well, there was
he's in
articles
that
this week
Shame.
saying
zone,
he'd be
isn't
too good for the under 20s.
he?
So yeah, probably a good thing for all those other boys because
He's
they
he's
just get
he's a
absolutely
shining
mullered.
star for the future, isn't he? He really,
Yeah,
really
100%.
is.
definitely. And
Um,
then another player I highlighted, obviously we chatted already, Combia, 93 meters carried. That was first from both teams as well. Two defenders beaten and a try in the first sort of 10, 12 minutes. His strike rate for the Ospreys is now looking really good. I thought
has
it
he
was better
scored in
than what
every
it was,
game?
actually. He's averaging 0.6 tries per game, so he's played 5 for us this season so
And he's
far.
scored in four of them.
Scored in
Is
three of
he?
them.
Three.
Three of them. Yeah, yeah.
Told you my
Um,
maths was crap.
but he's played a full 80 minutes for all 5 games he's featured in as well, which I
Yeah.
didn't realize.
And he's looked good. He's looked
Yeah.
Yeah,
good for it.
It's
yeah,
surely time to time down to a contract now, isn't it? I mean, he's on is it a sort of short term, month by month? I don't know, I'm not sure what the exact
Yeah.
arrangements are, but the way he's playing, it's not going to be long before somebody comes
Someone
knocking with a
snaps
contract for
him.
next season. And, he needs to stay with us. I mean, he gives us so much squad depth and so much, he can be a real difference maker, can't he? And yeah, we need to get him signed
Absolutely.
permanently.
Really, really good. Like
totally.
I loved him when I saw him in the Origins down in St Helens before the start of the season. He was fantastic then. And I
Yeah,
think we said in one of the first pods that I thought he was going to be a great signing for us, and that's just continued.
yeah.
Um,
What I will say, Ospreys photographers need to get some good shots of him because there's not that many
there's
great
none
photos to use on social media at the moment of him like dynamic doing his
diving
thing in
over.
Ospreys jerseys. There's him obviously doing the sort of URC
Yeah.
weird pose and there's all those things, but we need like him diving across the
Oh,
try
I
line,
mean
really.
the in my hands look doing this like
Yeah, yeah,
I love that one. Come here. Um, Obviously Cassende had another stormer.
yeah.
Um, I think he's secretly from Town Hill, you know.
He's got
I
that
think
edge
he's
about him, isn't he? He's got
think
that
he's
edge.
Swansea born and bred.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I literally think that boy,
You can see that at the
he's
end of
he's
the
from
Cardiff
you.
game,
He
didn't he? He
gets
was
it.
he was up for
Yeah,
a scrap right in front of us, wasn't he, Rod, at the end of
yeah,
the Cardiff game.
Yeah.
Saturday he was feisty again. He's definitely
yeah.
got that about him, isn't he?
And he's
But
like,
again,
but they don't want it.
I think that is the similarities between, working class South Welsh life and, the rough and tumble of growing up in South
Yeah,
Africa as well, which has its own issues.
yeah.
It's that team mentality, it's that doggedness. It's transferable, and we love it, and we can see ourselves in it, and he can see the vice versa. So
He's come
he's
here and
just
he's
slotted right in,
connected
isn't
with
he?
the club. He's
Yeah,
Definitely.
really like
I can't wait
connected.
for 20, 25 years time when in 2 years he decides to like settle in South Wales as kids
And
here
he's
and then
got
they're Welsh
kids.
qualified and there's little baby Cassendes just coming through on the Ospreys team.
And I'm going to be 75.
But no,
75 and doing my podcast.
but
Um,
yeah,
yeah, we know. But I
busiest.
love him.
He is the busiest back on the pitch in most games from both sides,
Yeah.
going well beyond like his job description as a winger. He's just looking for that extra work, which is just it's
Yeah.
just class. He had I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, four defenders beaten. No, he was second place for that. He also had one line break, two dominant tackles, and one turnover as a wing. Like,
Mm,
yeah, fair play to the bloke.
He's
definitely.
just been a cracking addition, an absolute cracking addition
Yeah.
um, for us. And obviously, you've done your AI magic again with your Osprey getting a POW
Mm.
rugby
Cool.
ball.
Yeah.
Did they not have animals?
No, their logo is just like a mount, like the Pyrenees, essentially, the outline of the
Ah, right,
Pyrenees
okay.
mountain with a rugby ball overlay on it. It's really basic, just like line image.
Yeah.
So that no, there was no animal. Maybe I could have done
But I
like an
liked it with the
ibex or
ball.
something. Hmm?
No, I liked it with the ball. I thought it was
Yeah, it's
really,
cool.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, you're
Do you
gonna
know
have
one
to
thing I
continue with that.
Sorry, Sam. There was one thing I really enjoyed on Saturday in that first half when Will Spencer broke clear.
Yeah.
There's something about a 6'8" or whatever second row running free
Yeah.
that just looks different, doesn't it? It just hits different, and
It does.
He's a puppy who's had his dot. It's like the back gate is open and the like the lurcher puppy is realised, and he's like,
yeah,
"I'm making a
and he
run
just
for it,
had
mum."
this open space in front of him to run into, and it was
Yeah,
just, yeah. I don't
run,
think we've seen a
Forest, run.
second row run clear like that for a long, long time for the
Yeah,
Ospreys. But
It might be
yeah,
my moment of the match.
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
It reminds me of that scene again, bringing up Lord of the Rings, but where when all the Ents are bringing down Saruman's tower, Orthanc, and one of them's on fire, and it runs and sticks its head in the water just to like put the fire
just
out.
put it out.
He had that same feel about him of
it
this
was.
just like giant tree running across the
You're going
pitch.
to have to do take a clip of that now and splice a clip of him run
Okay,
doing that run and put it
I'll do it.
together.
I bet his tongue was hanging out as he was running as well.
It's a concentration thing, that is. That's what I do.
But
Um,
no, on him, he's making me not miss Adam Beard at all,
nope,
really. He's really stepped up, and it seems like he's
Absolutely,
loving
yeah.
life. I've heard other pods mention that he probably wasn't he wasn't a player I was familiar with
no.
before, but he probably wasn't getting a lot of game time. So he's landed on his feet, and I think he's just
Yeah.
really enjoying playing regular rugby, and for a team that's, doing all right and winning
And
some
if
games.
Beard goes, then
Yeah.
who's not to say
Mm.
that that's not there? But obviously, it means that we get through to the next round,
Well, I
and
think
we
there's a
got
few more
Scarlet.
honourable mentions
Go on then.
if we can, just quickly, because
Absolutely.
they deserve it. Lewis
I'm not
Lloyd,
in charge.
Yeah.
Lewis Lloyd, really dynamic. I mean, he played like a converted flanker, which he is.
Yeah. How much of a
He's got
wealth have we
pace.
got a hooker though now with the three of them?
Yeah,
Superb, isn't it? You
Not a
think the
bad thing.
depth, the depth we've got at hooker is superb.
he's so athletic. And two of our hookers, yeah, now are converted back rows. It's clearly something that works. And coming on to Benetton later, it's something that they're doing this week. If you hadn't noticed, I'll mention that later. Boshoff, solid
Really good.
defensively.
Solid performance.
Yeah.
And if you saw the little clip interview of him post-match, um, surprise to his own surprise, pretty solid in attack as well. He was talking about how he doesn't normally score a lot of tries, but he's scored a few recently,
I
and
know.
he's
Yeah.
quite happy with himself. But he's looking good. Dan Edwards, masterful in his management of the game as ever. It wasn't his loudest game. He was, more on the back seat, but he dictated the pace. And
Did
like we
what he
said
said on the
earlier,
tin.
exactly. And then Owen Williams, he had a few glaring mistakes, those obvious things that make you, grit your teeth and go, ah, bloody hell. But, like knocks on, fluff passes, whatever, what have you. But I think beyond that, he had a really good game as a second playmaker outside Dan Edwards, and he did bring something.
Yeah. And it's a big
Yeah,
month coming up for him now, isn't it? With
Hmm.
Dan with the Welsh squad,
yeah,
he will move across to 10 now, but he is playing 10 tomorrow night, isn't he? So it's a
Yes.
it's a big month now for him to show that he's still an important part of the squad, and he's
yeah.
got a part to play in hopefully getting us up towards playoffs or who knows, within Europe or whatever it may be.
And he sounds
Yeah.
excited for that, up for that in his pre-match interview for Benetton. He was talking about Dan Edwards' class and, saying how he can't be angry at the kid for sort of kicking him out of that starting position because he's playing so well, but he's looking for now a few games to string
Yeah.
together and just find a bit of form again.
There seems to be a lot of I can't say camaraderie there in the squad at the minute. There seems to be that brother-like relationships. It
Mhm.
seems as though, I'm not blaming players who have left or gone, but there seems to be a young squad there now who are developing and coming through and getting that band of brothers mentality together.
Yeah.
It seems as though it's not like they've got their big brother there watching them anymore then. Do you know what I mean? They
Mhm.
haven't got
Mm.
the granddads in the camp. And it's lovely to see how they're all flourishing in their own way and they're also supportive of each other on and off the pitch, which is lovely,
There's the
lovely to
confidence that a
see.
few wins bring as well. We'd had
Yeah.
a rough start to the season, but just a few wins, and you can see the confidence coming back into play. It's clear that Mark Jones has tweaked quite a bit in terms of tactics already, and the players are buying into that as well. I know
Mhm.
Saturday you can't really judge me because we had to go out and get the 4 tries and get the win on Saturday. That was always
Mm.
going to be a given before starting. So we were always going to have to play slightly differently on Saturday. Um,
Yeah.
but I think he's clearly making a difference in terms of the tactics already, and you can see that those are working, and that the players are sort of buying into his thinking and his sort of
Yeah.
and his style of play.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then, yeah, I think that's it. I mean, a couple of boys played well off the bench, didn't they? Um, Lukey Dye was definitely joy of that one. Joy o iawn. Um, yeah, I can't think who else came off the bench now, but no, it was a really good game. Lovely performance, one I'll remember for a long time.
Yeah.
Glad you enjoyed. But now we march on, we
Mm,
move on. Um, we keep reaching. So we now know that we're playing our local rivals, the Scarlets, the 6th of April at the Swansea.com. Slightly late kick-off in it being 5:30, which is a bit of a gutter mark because that
It pretty
means
much rules me out on a Sunday
it
night,
rules
getting
you.
back home at 11 o'clock or whatever. It's yeah,
Yeah,
be a no go. I was
yeah,
gutted because I was really looking forward to that one. But
yeah.
yeah.
So, but it, I have been a bit amused, if I'm being honest, online this week because I've seen a couple of tweets about, oh my God, what's the point of Europe if we're just going to be playing them from the Scarlets fans? Mate, we're in Europe. Do you not like we're another European team? So I get it, I understand. However, what this does give you is the opportunity to move on to the next 16 and to be like within a 15, 20 minute, half an hour reach of the game.
Yeah.
Guess it's disappointing that you're not got a little jolly away, but I think it's going to be a cracker. I'm not disappointed that we got them at all.
No, I
Like, I
mean,
don't know about you
I
two.
sympathize. Like it would have been nice to have Perpignan or Lyon or somebody like that come, just for the variety.
yeah,
Just because I know we played Perpignan. Was it a couple of times last year, or was it just the once? Just the once,
just the
probably,
one
wasn't
side,
it?
isn't it? Yeah.
But the variety is nice, and because we play Scarlets twice a season anyway. But on the flip side, we get the chance to do the triple over them this year, which is not something that comes around every year. So
Yeah, and
touch
from a
wood.
from a Welsh perspective, and obviously I very much hope that it's us, but it is guaranteed that there'll be a Welsh team playing in the last eight of the
Yeah,
competition, which is big as well.
Mm,
Hopefully we'll be the ones representing Wales going forward. But yeah, and we've got a guaranteed whoever wins that game has got a guaranteed home quarterfinal as well.
yeah.
So that's been kind as well. So yeah, I mean,
But if we
before the
do get
limits,
through,
yeah,
we could be
exactly.
facing more Welsh opposition because we could be facing Cardiff in the
Yeah.
semis, right? Yeah, the
Mm.
semis, if they get that far, which maybe they
why are you
won't. But
confusing me? Don't I can't far ahead. It just I'm like that man who's got all the numbers coming out of his head who's like, I
it's a
can't
lot more
do it.
simple now because the Challenge Cup have released the progression pathways, so you can pretty easily see who will be facing who. But
I want to be able to
yeah,
like,
could be
oh,
Cardiff in the semis.
I put on my wall, put names
Yes,
on, like when I was a
and
kid.
write them in.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
it is a shame that TV's dictated kickoff times and stuff. Obviously, that this isn't a club decision. This is a TV broadcasting decision, isn't it? To play at 5:30 on a Sunday, it's
Yeah.
gonna limit the crowd to an extent. I think might write some kids off potentially with it being a later sort of kickoff. People do other things on a Sunday. If it was a 3 o'clock Saturday game or even a 5 o'clock Saturday game, you could have put an extra couple of thousand probably on the gate, but you know,
I think it'll be a
broadcasting
strong
dictates,
crowd.
isn't it? I think it'll be fine, yeah. But I think
I think it'll be a strong crowd. Obviously, it's not included within our season tickets, so not quite sure when tickets go on sale yet. But I know that as season ticket holders, we'll get pre-sale. Always loads of space around by us, Rod. So if you want to come over and be a
Mm.
hooligan with me, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I
Um,
gotta round up the clan. I'll probably be coming with a good 5 or 6 people.
I want to meet your brother now, seeing as we know people in common.
Yeah,
You know,
I'll drag him along. He'll come along, maybe with his
yeah,
girlfriend in tow as well. But he'll
he
be
looks
there.
really cool.
Yeah.
And of course, it'll be a Scarlets double header as well because we played them at Parc y Scarlets the weekend before as well.
I can't
Mm.
go. I literally cannot go. Um, I know that I've said I'm not going there. It's a shithole, but I just thought, you know what? I'll go down. I even looked at hospitality and everything. However, that is the night I go and see Michael Ball and Alfie Bow in Cardiff with my mother. So I could go down to that, but I'd have to leave straight away and then go straight to Cardiff. And I'm scared of my mother. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to piss her off, so I think I better take her to go and
Yeah.
like see them. And I quite
Mhm.
like them as well. I'm not even gonna lie. Alfie Boat's my weird man crush. Um, my dog is being an absolute dick right now. She's just pouring me because I got a jar of treats on my desk. Um, so I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
If
and
and
we'll
and
talk about that.
I'm saying that like with a big, big if we get through and we've got that home tie, I'll organise a party.
Hmm.
Mark, you can come and stay here. You can bring whoever you want with you. I can't guarantee a dog won't get in bed with you, but you can come and stay. Rod, if you want to come down and party, we can put a mattress downstairs for you and Amy.
Mhm.
Like we'll have a party. Like
Yeah.
we'll have a party. Um, but obviously we're back to normal business tomorrow night against Benetton.
Mhm.
Um, they've had some of their players released back to them from the Italian squad today, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 players.
Mm.
Yeah,
Matt Gallagher on the wing, Alessandro Isiko, the flanker, and then Prop Zilocci and the lock Favretto are both on the bench. Thanks to Simon Thomas for that on Twitter.
with your Italian heritage, that pronunciation was crap. You should uh, B minus, do better.
Give you a bit more of a flourish there, Rod.
Yeah,
Zilocci, Favoretto.
That's
that's
it.
better. That is better. Um, so I'm looking forward to tomorrow night. You heading down, Rod, with your season ticket, weather permitting.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, back
Amazing.
to the looking forward to it.
And
I'm
we've got
gonna
a strong
be,
team out, to be fair.
yeah,
I
Tips
think
is
that is the
back.
one benefit of not having too many players called up to the international squad, is that it's a reasonably settled starting 15, really.
Mm.
Well, no, I mean, this is what it is it's the benefit of having so many overseas players because they've had 18 players called up to the Italian squad, 18, but
Mm.
they've still got, just counted in front of me,
New Zealand
eight
doesn't they?
players starting who started last week and beat La Rochelle.
Yeah,
So any other team would be absolutely depleted. Imagine if we
decimated by
had
that.
18
Yeah,
players called up to the Welsh squad. We would be on our knees.
We'd
we'd
be
be
They've had
paying.
18 players and they've still got eight starting week to week.
Yeah. No, it isn't gonna be an easy game by any stretch, but I do like the look of our team. I think there's a lot of quality in there.
Hmm.
Um, some names coming in maybe that have got some points to prove, like Owen Williams, for example.
Yeah.
Like a look at Jack Walsh back in the back three. I think yeah, I know you're a big fan of his as well, Rod.
Yeah.
I think playing number 15's, good choice there as well. And it
Better
looks
hair
like
than me.
yeah, and it just looks like a good team. We've got a good solid team and some difference makers to come off the bench as well.
Steve's is back.
Yeah,
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
Steve's back on the bench. Yeah, Tipperick
Steve's is back.
starting. Yeah, there's a nice influx, a bit of rotation of new players in who've been rested. Morgan Morris as well, obviously,
Yeah.
but also enough continuity that you feel
yeah.
like they can carry on this little run of form that we've been having. Um, but yeah, Benetton don't. Yeah, they're no joke. The team that they put up, they got Rhino Smith 15. They still got Malachi Fekitower at 12. Matt Gallagher on the wing, who we've already talked about. Thomas Albanos, Thomas Gajo from the Argentinian prop, one of the best loose head props in the world, in my opinion. Eli Snyman, Izeko in the back row, and then, like I mentioned earlier, their hooker from last week against La Rochelle is playing seven this week, so he's
Right.
doing a bit of a Dewi lick. And Agustin Creevy, again, one of the
Yeah,
best hookers in the world
yeah.
in the world. Argentinian hooker is coming in now to start as well, who wasn't playing last week. So they've
Mm.
got some talent there.
Yeah, they have.
Um,
But they've had a disappointing season on the whole. They haven't pushed on from last year. I think there were a lot of people had them as a lock for playoffs probably this season, and it hasn't quite clicked for them so far this year. So it'll be interesting to see how they look tomorrow night.
Yeah, and hopefully Storm Eowyn, another great Lord of the Rings reference. Storm Eowyn hits hard and makes it a tough afternoon for those Italians who are used to that Treviso sun,
Mm,
even at this time of the year. Hopefully there's a bit of
definitely.
driving rain that just puts them off their game.
I'm quite confident I've got to say tomorrow night if we're doing predictions, I think we'll win that by 7 or 8 maybe. I'm
Hmm.
I'm fairly confident, and I'm usually the pessimistic one when it comes to predictions on this pod. But I'm going to go for a we'll go for between 7 and 10 point win.
Christ, I hadn't even thought about a prediction. I think we'll win as well. I'd like to think we could do it by more than a score. So yeah, I'll second that, Mark. I'll go for 9 points, converted try and a penalty ahead. Um, just because
I would
Tipperick's back.
I would go for a win. Um, but I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. So I think it's going to be 3-3 or 5.
Hmm.
Um, a little bit tighter. However, can I just interject with some proper breaking news?
Go on.
Breaking news.
As
Dewi
in you've
Lake has
just
signed
seen.
again. Dewi Lake has signed another contract.
Oh, amazing.
Oh,
Just been
nice.
dropped.
Superb.
Um,
Oh,
yeah, with
class.
yeah.
Excellent. The building blocks are there for the future.
Which one's
Look at
Dewi
him with
Lake?
his bloody shirt. That one.
The one that side, isn't
Um,
it? Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic news. That's
That's
really,
Jack and
really good.
Debbie tied up now, isn't it? Which is fantastic.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely
Jack and Dewi
banging.
on my shirt
I
there.
wouldn't normally interact, but I saw it and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And everybody's like tweeting about it because they've done one of those really good videos again.
Yeah. Oh, have
Um,
they? Oh, I'll have to check that out
it's
after.
amazing.
That's the
And it,
benefit of recording later in the week. When we record earlier in the week, it gives more time for people to listen, obviously, before the game. But all the breaking news and all the big stories tend to come out through
At the
the
end of the
week
week.
from sort of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday onwards.
Yeah.
need to be
So at
more on
least, yeah,
TikTok and Insta. That's what we need to do.
yeah.
Um,
That's
Oh
superb
no,
news.
that's fantastic.
so great news.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to going tomorrow evening. I'm going to be in the Riverside on OSC duty from about 5:30 until about 6:15. We'll try and catch up with you at some point tomorrow, Rod, but obviously we know where we sit now.
Hmm.
We've got our signals.
Yeah.
Um, I'll
I'll
take my
have my
flag as
flag.
well.
With your
I'll
flag.
take I'll
Yeah.
take my flag as well.
Good,
As Mark
good.
said, we learned semaphore.
Semaphore. That's the way forward now.
Um,
Yeah.
and we'll give that a go. But I do think it's achievable for us. URC had a bit of a pop at us today,
And that's as a pod or at the Ospreys?
as the Ospreys. Well, they predicted it anyway. So last year we had a 2% chance of getting through to the playoffs, according to their predictor. This year we've got 1%.
Mm.
Oh,
I
happy
think
now.
beating Benetton will improve that
Will boost us.
because they're only
1.5%.
6 points ahead of us.
Like, I'm not going to lie, I don't know how these percentages work. So it could be right, the 1%. But, it's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog. I
See,
sounded really like Nessa then, didn't I?
yeah, you did.
I
See,
suppose to
now
be
is a
fair,
really good time to
so
put a bet on.
it would, yeah. I suppose
I
to be
don't know
fair,
how
to
to
them,
do it.
we're in a worse position now than we were at this point last season when it was a 2%. So if you're looking purely statistically at it, then they're probably right, aren't they? But
Yes, yeah,
statistics doesn't win rugby matches.
no,
To be
no,
honest, I'm
exactly.
pretty. I don't need to worry about figures. I'm joking. I'm not that vain. I'm really genuinely not that vain. Um, so yeah, those are our statistics. But I think looking at what we've got ahead, then this block is far easier for us
Yeah.
than the first block. Um, Obviously we go into the international period now as well, so things go a little bit wang chung for sort of like the next 6 weeks or so with things happening. But we've got Benetton, big one is Leinster then on the 14th. But to be fair, how many players have they got in the Ireland squad at the minute? But then again,
I was going to
they've
say, yes,
like
Leinster without the
they've,
Irish players,
they've
but
got
they've
the
still
likes of
got
Geordie
a
Barrett,
second
have
team of
they?
Irish players coming through behind them, haven't they? So, yeah.
Did
Yeah,
not realise how tall Barrett was until I saw him against RG Snyman. Um, and they're pretty much level.
mm.
Um,
He's a big boy.
so we've got Leinster on the 14th, Glasgow Warriors away on the 1st of March. Then we've got Connacht, Mark's second team. And then we've got um, Ospreys, Cardiff, and then Dragons.
Scarlets,
Um,
Cardiff, then Dragons.
Scarlets, Cardiff, then Dragons. So
Even
yeah, we've
some,
got the Sharks and we've got the
yeah,
Lions. But
even
I
a game
think,
like Glasgow away looks more winnable when it's in a Six Nations window, doesn't it?
Yeah,
yeah, um,
definitely.
and how freakish is that accident for
Oh,
Sione Tupolotto this
such a
week?
shame, isn't it?
Absolute freak of an accident doing that to his pec,
Yeah,
and he's out for 5 months.
real
Yeah.
pity.
That is gutting.
Mm.
I had to say that because of John.
No, you want to see the
It
best players on the pitch, don't you, at the end of the day? And
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
it's a shame for Scotland. It's going to obviously disrupt their sort of Six Nations plans. But then for
Yeah.
him personally, with the Rugby League
Lions.
coming up as well, he was, pretty much a shoe-in probably for one of the centre spots. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully, he can recover in time to still claim that place because he's absolute class player again, isn't he? So
yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, the way he just reached for the ball, he tore his pec. That's got to be so painful and absolutely freakish. But you know what? I like the way he came out on social media and kind of was a bit like, I'm really sorry to have let you down, Scotland, but God chooses my path and whatever. And as much as I might be gonna go into flames when I go to the Vatican in 2 weeks' time, then I just thought that was a really humble way to look at it and a really positive way to look at it in saying, this perhaps this was not my path this year. Um, because it's obviously got to be a lot to come to terms with mentally that, that's been taken away from you. But I do think this next block is easier, dare I say. Nothing's easy, but I do think it's a
Mhm.
little bit, we can take more from it
yeah,
than we
Yeah,
did in that first block. Um,
definitely. Definitely. When you've got players like Tiprick, you're just not worried, are you? Mark Jones said it in an interview on the weekend. He's probably one of the best players in the competition, whatever age he is. He
yeah,
said, I don't know what age he is. He hasn't told me. He won't tell me. But it's so true. He could be performing at the top level still, and
yeah.
it gives me a hell of a lot of confidence to have him around during this international window.
I like Ruben is going to be busting the guts and need to show the Welsh selectors how much of a mistake they've made in leaving
Yes.
him out of the squad. It's a big month for him as well. You've
Yeah,
still got your
totally.
Ratties, your Fenders, your Morgan Morris, Morgan Morse. We've
Yeah.
got a lot of quality
There's
there.
only
Lions,
35.
35.
So
Yeah.
he's not. I like that he's going out on his own terms. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I do like that, and I think for me that is the control you've got as a player is to go out on your own terms. But he's going out world class. He would walk back into that Welsh squad. We said it last week, didn't we? He'd walk back into the Welsh squad, hang his hat, and be like, "Hi guys, I'm back."
Yeah.
Like, and he'd be a starter. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that.
Do you think he'll still
Um,
wear his scrum cap when he's in the coaching box next season?
can you imagine? You'd know
I hope
exactly where
so.
he is at all times, wouldn't you? His blue scrum cap. Um, do you know what though? I want him to get a haircut. I know the boys on the other pod love him and his hair. Just get a haircut. Just get some layers cut in. Because I think he's got natural curls. And I think if he had some feathered layers put it in, it could be
Nah,
lash. Like it could be really lash.
that's blasphemy.
Have you got any
That's
comment on that,
blasphemy.
Rob? On feathered layers? Come on, you must have something to comment on that.
Look at him, he's
Good
blasphemy,
point.
blasphemy. Um, but you know, I do. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing if we got that bounce effect coming off the back of two strong wins. Um, yeah, we're missing our internationals, but then we've got the strength and depth there. You know, with what we've got on the bench, and it's nice for the people to be able to put their hand up and
Mhm.
have a game. Um, a lot of talk online this week as well about the Dragons and their performances over the last couple of weeks. Um, Found it really bizarre that some of their own fans are saying that they should be disbanded.
Mm.
Very bizarre. Like I can't imagine being at a stage where I'm like, right, disband my club.
I think they're just
Um,
being it very. I think it's very hard for them to see
Deflated.
where this is going to go. How they're going to make improvements. I think everybody thought this season, on paper, certainly to start the season, it looked like they were going to be better. They were going to be stronger. Even some of the performances in the first few games of the season, they were looking promising, but they were
Mm,
losing games, losing tight games. But unfortunately for them, now those tight losses have turned into heavy defeats. And they just look a bit clueless, don't they? Since Flanagan's
yeah,
gone, especially, they just look all at sea. And totally the opposite of what we were saying about the Ospreys and that squad gelling together. The Dragons
it's
just the
disjointed.
polar opposite of that, don't they, at the minute?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And they are obviously nothing out of Europe. And you could almost argue that they're not even jostling with Zebra this year at the bottom of the table. There's only
no,
four
not at the
points
minute.
separating them, but that's a decent enough gap considering,
Yeah.
there's 4 points separating 8 teams in the middle of the table, and they're starting to fall behind Zebra, so they
Yeah.
need some results, otherwise they're just going to be left in the dirt. It's hard to see. Um, I like listening to the Dragon's Lair
Dragon's
podcast. I
Lair.
like
Mm.
Jamie's opinions and his insights on stuff. Um, and I don't know how they do it, bless them. And Gav as well, just talking the same talk every week on week. It's got to be really demoralizing. I don't think I'd be doing this if we were in the same boat because it wouldn't be fun. Um, but
You got
yeah,
to win sometimes, haven't you? And unfortunately for the Dragons, it feels like they never win, does it, anymore?
yeah.
Yeah,
Which is really annoying that we bloody lost to them at the start of the season, first
Yeah.
game of the season. Really frustrating. We'd be in a better position now if
it
that
is
didn't happen.
annoying, but
Really
we
annoying.
we know why that is. So we look forward to seeing some URC stuff this weekend.
Yeah.
Obviously we can have Mark back then with his usual URC roundup
Got a busy
um,
weekend ahead.
next weekend. Well, the weather's going to be naff. We're going to wear the warning. So do you know
Yeah,
what?
true.
Use
What
this as
better
an
to do than watch
excuse.
80 URC matches over the weekend?
Why not?
Yes.
Why the devil not? Um, and unless anybody's got anything else to add, we can move on to some news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go.
So
Let's do
I've
it.
just broke the news about Derry.
Mm.
Um, great that he signed back on again. Fantastic. Good news that Deves is back. Um, I suppose we have to look at the Six Nations. Really, a lot of launch stuff that's gone on this week at the Coliseum and everything else. Thought the team picture was quite cool.
Mhm.
Um, made a post about Dan Edwards because there was a lovely picture of him taken by the Welsh
There
Rugby
was.
Union going into training.
First
Um,
day at school, wasn't it? Yeah.
yeah, and I was like, "That is this how you feel when your kid goes to his first day at big school?" And he actually
Yeah,
liked the
that's brilliant.
Instagram post. Um, and I just think, looking ahead, there's going to be some changes to the laws that are coming up. And one of the things, we can get into this better in a couple of weeks' time once we know they're going to settle in. There's talk of them bringing back the 20-minute red card again, which I think could be a really positive thing because rather than kill a game off, you've got, yes, those 20 minutes of punishment, but you're not writing off perhaps a large chunk of the game. But they're going to have the ref mic on. So we're going to be able to hear things in real time.
That's
And I'm
good.
quite looking forward to that. And also changing now that the try conversion is going to have the countdown clock the same as penalties. So it's going to be 60
Yeah.
60 seconds. But keep your eyes peeled because we might have some more insights coming on that over the next couple of weeks with a guest who probably knows a great deal more of it than we do at this point in time. So keep your eyes peeled.
And not to get into it in any long-winded way, because that's a whole other podcast, but I'm not entirely convinced on the red card thing yet, because it feels like there have been a few instances where it's been utilized instead of just a straight, red
Red.
card, stay off for 80 minutes. It
This is
feels like
that's
it
against
should,
Fiji, wasn't it? Was it the Fiji game when was it
yeah,
Randrada was it nearly killed somebody? Another
yes.
20-minute red card.
So it depends how it's
Like,
used.
hi.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm still on the fence about it. We'll see how it plays out this competition. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
So
I've got.
there's some changes coming up. I don't know whether you guys watched the Six Nations thing on Netflix.
Yes, did see last season. Is it the next season's coming out or it's coming
Next
out
coming
this
out on
week,
the
isn't it? Yeah,
29th, but
yeah.
Netflix have advised that it didn't go into their top 10, so they're not doing a series 3. Um, to be honest with you, I'm not that bothered because I think you're showing rugby fans something now that happened a year ago.
Mm.
I think you could edit that and get that turned around and out much quicker. I think they've
It
tried
could
to
come
do,
out at the same time, a week later, one
yeah,
episode after each weekend.
yeah.
That would be ideal. But I
Yeah,
still enjoyed it. I thought it was
yeah.
good.
I think
I
the
love
episode,
anything behind the scenes. I
I
love
love Finn Russell.
cameras in changing rooms. I just love it.
yeah.
Love those team talks.
It
I
was
mean the
Finn
episode.
Russell to his girlfriend.
Oh yeah.
Playing rugby, I'm not going to war. That creased me,
Yeah.
absolutely creased me.
I've said the
Mm.
episode guide looks really, really depressing. I mean, it was always going to be after last year's Six Nations, but it's something like episode 1, episode 4, episode 7, or whatever. It's Wales are
Yeah,
battling to win their
Yeah.
first game and whatever, and this, that, and the other, and who's going to win the wooden spoon? Of course, we all know the outcome already, but it would
Yes.
still be interesting to see. It'd be interesting to see as well because Wales were one of the teams that gave the least access to cameras, weren't they, during the
because they
last
were
series?
striking.
So I wonder whether we'll have a bit more input this year and a bit more sort of
A
Yeah.
bit
insight into
more,
what happens with
yeah.
us this season.
I don't know whether they would have been benefited though, because I don't know if you guys have seen on Amazon Prime, they've done it with a lot of football teams, but they've done it with like NFL teams and with hockey teams as well.
Yeah,
So that this is Manchester United, this is whoever. And I really loved, although I've not been a proper fan of some of those teams or some of those sports, I really got into hockey through watching the Toronto Maple Leafs one
that's a really
because
good one. Yeah,
I really bought into them as a brand.
yeah.
Um,
And the NFL
and
hard knocks ones as well
Hard
with the
Knocks, yeah,
preseason stuff is brilliant
yeah,
because it
it's
finishes
brutal.
when the season starts. So it's all the build up to the season and
Yeah,
stuff. And,
NFL
brilliant.
NFL is brutal. Mentioning NFL as well, Gats has opened the door to LRZ because he had a bit of a shaky period with the Jacksonville Jaguars, didn't he? So
Yeah. Has he had a new
Gats has
contract
said he's
offered again then, I would
had
think?
a new contract
Yeah.
offered again, but no one from rugby has really gone over and
No.
done anything with American football because they've got we got our plays over here, but they got like a mega playbook, and you need to know those plays inside that book,
Yeah.
inside, out,
Onwards.
backwards,
Yeah.
forwards, sideways, whatever. And some of these kids have been playing with these teams and these franchises since they were tiny.
Yeah.
They know when they go into college football what their pathway is likely to be. So they're used to that way. I'm not a negative Nelly. I'd love to see him go and succeed at something that he obviously wants to do. But I think the sad thing for me is seeing that footage off the back of that full contact. I think he could have been a world great.
Oh,
He
yeah.
could have been a goat in rugby, without a doubt. But I wish him luck in whatever he does. Um, Other breaking news: Wales women have appointed a new coach.
Mhm.
Lynn, who coaches Hartbury ladies, who are obviously very, 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 very successful.
Yeah.
Not heard a bad word about him online or for anything else. Swansea boy coming back, and he's
Yeah.
looking forward to coming back. Um,
Back
and
to
I
back
think there is the
PWR
talent there.
titles.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you know.
And he
I,
and he's got quite a lot of the Welsh squad within that Gloucester Hartpury squad at the minute, isn't he? So he's got
yeah,
familiarity there as well.
yeah.
And as he said, everybody seems to speak very highly of him, and he's a specialist of the women's game specifically, isn't he? So he's not like we're bringing in a male
Someone
coach to a women's
rando.
team. He's been working with women for a long, long time.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Johan Cunningham did a good job. I think he set the groundwork. He did the groundwork, didn't he? But he wasn't that person to take it to the next level. And things were just starting to peter out a bit.
Off-field
So,
stuff, I think, created an issue
yeah,
there
yeah.
for him.
I think,
I
yeah,
think
it's
the
a
Um,
only
really good
shame
appointment.
I think the only
yeah,
shame with it is that I mean he's obviously stipulated that he wants to stay with Hartpury to the end of the season, and that takes the squad then very very close, doesn't it, to the beginning of the Women's Six Nations.
yeah.
I've got lots of time to work with them. I think their playoffs run right to about a week before the competition starts. So fair play to him. He doesn't want to let down the girls that he's working with week in week out and wants to take them through to the end of the
I
season.
like that loyalty, though.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
loyalty of not wanting to walk away.
yeah,
Um, the other thing that I thought was quite funny this week was I watched For the Love of Rugby with Dan Cole, and they had Alona Mayer on this week, and she was talking about her time at Bristol Bears, and they were asking her how she's getting on with like living in Bristol and the rugby and the changes. But it was so funny because you're saying there's a lot of Welsh girls in the Bristol Bears team, and she can't understand any of them. She's really struggling. She's like, they've really got to take their time speaking to me. And she was using the word lash a lot. So she's obviously, because lash I don't think is a real Bristol thing, although they're quite close to Wales. I don't think it's a thing like it is down here. So she was using the word lash a lot.
Well, they,
And
they
she
say
was
Gertlash, don't they?
good lash. That's what she was saying about their slang. But she was like, she just likes the word lash.
Yeah.
And she was saying that she wants to come over to Wales and whatever. But she was saying when she's listening to two Welsh people talking, they might as well be speaking another language rather than English because she can't get her head around it at all. Not at all. Um, but that's kind of anybody else got any news that I may have missed?
There's the final, the other Welsh appointment. Although, did we mention it last week?
The new
The
director.
Yeah, did we mention
Yeah,
that last week?
we did.
I think we did, didn't we?
Okay,
Yeah.
We
moving on.
did. We
And
did.
there's
We
Adam
did.
Um,
Jones obviously coming into the men's setup as well.
Yeah.
I don't think did we mention that last week? No, that
oh
hasn't.
yes.
Adam Jones is
No, we
that's
didn't.
six that
Oh, we did
that's
not
this week,
mention
isn't it?
that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
again, brilliant appointment.
yeah,
The experience that he brings into that coaching box,
yeah.
fantastic.
Sorry, can I
Still going
just
to be
say,
consulting with the Quins on their scrums remotely
Yeah,
in that time. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a lot of his attention. Good appointment. And then the psychologist as well, the sports psychologist, which I think is vital in that team because something's not
absolutely,
going wrong, not going
100%.
right up there.
yeah.
I will, I'm not going to name them because I'm not going to give them the air. But someone has said about why am I excited about this. Um, if I have to explain that to you,
Mm.
why I'm excited, then yeah, ask your wife
Well,
while she's excited in bed with you, mate. Do you know what I mean? Give it a go. So if you got one. Oh, I'm feral this week. I'm really sorry. Um,
Yeah, you've held it together well till then, Sam. Well done.
I know. I'm just done. I am literally done with like, do you know what? If you're gonna come for me correct, or don't come for me at all. Like literally. I will put on 90s gangster music and I will rap and I will show you. I'm not from
that,
the East Side in St. Thomas for nothing.
that's
Um,
content for our TikTok, I think.
TikTok, do
Absolutely.
you reckon? Don't give me control of the TikTok account. I'll just do your videos and give them to you.
Okay.
Um,
The
but
only other thing that's worth mentioning from me is just a quick preview of next week, just to get people excited. We are going to have Will Spencer on, which will be nice. First player interview, with
love that.
obviously
He'd be
exciting
nice.
new face in the camp. So yeah, it'll be good to get big Will Spencer on. Yeah.
Absolutely. The under 20
We,
squad's named this week as well.
yeah, three
Three
Ospreys.
Ospreys coming in there significantly. Cornelius making his debut in that under 20 setup. Is he New Zealand born, Australian upbringing,
Hmm.
with a parent
Welsh
from,
mother,
yeah, I think so,
Yeah.
yeah.
mother. Yeah.
Again, looks quite a prospect, and
Uh-huh.
excited to see him coming into the under 20s and the two other Ospreys. Congratulations to the three of them for making it into that squad. Look forward to seeing them play on Friday nights before the big games on Saturday.
Yeah.
No, we got a
Yeah.
guest coming on.
Hmm?
No, we got a guest coming on.
Yeah.
Can I be myself? Or shall I be a toned down version?
Depends if we've got any more guests afterwards or not.
I'm
Just
not
going
going
to
to
ask
tell you
for
to be anything other than
You
yourself,
be
Sam.
yourself, Sam, absolutely.
everyone else is
Yeah.
taken. To be honest, I just want to ask the man how much he deadlifts. And I want to then be like, well, I can do 75 kilos. And then he'll
You
tell
just wanted
me he
to
does
say
like
that, didn't you?
double that in it. Do you know what I mean? Um, and to be fair, that man is almost 2 foot taller than me. Takes the
Wow.
piss. No. Like, well, next time I see you, will you say hello and can we measure how far up your body I can? Um, but yeah, and then the week after that, then fingers crossed, we'll have someone else. Once I've got that nailed down, we'll let you know
Mhm.
so you can pop some questions in.
Yeah,
Um, but last week we talked about chants.
we did.
We did. And it's captured the imagination of some of our listeners, guys.
Brilliant.
Now,
Hmm.
I've been sent a few. I did one. First half was okay, second half needed work, according to John. Um, and we've also, had people send stuff to us. So I thought, like, I love Grand Slam from the 70s
Yeah.
with Windsor Davis. So we could have the Jack's here, he's there, he's everywhere, so beware. Now, I'm hoping you've seen Grand Slam,
Yeah,
Rod.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, of course.
Absolutely. So we could do that. I did a Justin Tipperick one to my old man's a dustbin, but we're not going to say, like, I'm not going to say that because there's a swear word in it and, you know, we're being good. But we had some stuff from other people as
Yeah.
well, didn't we?
Mm.
So do you want to go for it, Rod, or do you want me to go for it?
Um, if you do the ones that I sent through from Chris Jones, thanks, Chris,
Yeah.
because um, just to give a bit of context, he listened to last week's pod and said, I caught up with the pod today and I'm totally with you guys in regards to the chants and the songs. The group of people I go with have been making up chants about players by Rob in the football ones. I'll send you the ones that we chant in games. And he sent those through. So I'll let you read those, Sam. And then I've spent some time today coming up with a few more that I'll do then afterwards. Plus, there's one tune in the ones that Chris sent through that I think is maybe a bit beyond my
I've just
before
seen
my
there's a
time
song in
because
there,
I
yeah.
don't know the tune.
My old
Um,
man's a
My old man's a
dustman.
dustman.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think I've
My
worked
old
it out
man's a
just.
dustman.
Yeah, that's the one I worked it out to be in, but I didn't know it, you know. So I'll let you read Chris Jones's. Thanks for those again, Chris. They're great.
They are really good. He's big, he's tall, he's going to stop you all. Adam Bate. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then we've got, oh, Harry Deves' magic. He wears a yellow hat, and when he sees the ball on the floor, he says, I fancy that, which was
yeah.
similar to my Justin Tipperick one, because I went for, um, his name is Justin Tipperick. He wears a blue scrum cap. And when he saw the Ospreys play, he said, I fancy that. And then it got a bit sweary. So we'll stop at that point.
It's funny how you
Um,
both came to that same, you know, the
we've
same
obviously
tune
been
and
watching the
basically
same.
the same
It's,
lyrics.
to be honest, it is like the lip. It is My Old Man's a Dustman is used in lots of football chants.
Yeah.
Then we've got, I don't know what tune this would be. He used to play in red, now he plays in black. You know who he is because he's got 7 on his back, Jack Morgan.
That could be my old man's a
Oh,
dustman
so
as
we'll give it a
well.
try. He used to play in red, now he plays in black. You know who he is because he's got 7 on his back. Jack Morgan. That's okay, yeah. He scores when he wants. You know he scores when he wants. He's Sam Parry. He scores when he wants. That's cool.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know the
No,
Max
neither do I,
Verstappen
no.
me.
Oh, I
Ta-da!
looked it up earlier, but I can't think
Okay.
again what it is off the top of my head. I'm not an
And
F1 fan.
then we got the Yellow Submarine song. We travelled all this way to watch the Ospreys play, to watch the Ospreys play, to watch the Ospreys play. I'm not a Beatles fan, so I'm sorry that that was
Yeah.
naff.
Chris
But they're really good,
stipulated that that's one for the away games,
the
obviously.
away games.
Yeah.
I did, right, how controversial do you want me to be? Because I had one on Twitter as well. Um, and they were like, um, let's have a little lucky Lulu. Your sister is your mother, your uncle is your brother. It's a Scarlet family. Now that
I
tickled
know who
me.
that is.
Yeah.
Should we name and shame him? I don't think he'll feel any shame. It was Martin
Martin,
Lewis, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, he
And he
said
says,
that one
I
to me
hope
as
it
well. He
wasn't too
said maybe don't say
offensive.
it on the podcast, you might get cancelled. But
I'm all
there we
right
go.
being cancelled. I don't care. Um, you know, I refuse to be cancelled.
Yeah,
But that did amuse me. If anybody's got anything else, then let me know
yeah,
because
send
I
him in.
think we could full on get this going.
Yeah, and whip them
Brass
out in games. If you've got a
brass
crowd
band,
with you, do a bit of
yeah,
rehearsing beforehand so everybody knows the lyrics and then crack them out, I say, because we need more singing. Shall I do mine?
yeah, yeah.
So mine are all to like pop songs.
Okay, that's fine.
So to the tune of Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, we've got Whoa, Jack Morgan. Wait. Yeah,
In
so
anticipation now.
whoa, Jack Morgan, stropping tries like no one can, fighting hard, he's everywhere. Captain Jack, beyond compare.
Right, I'm in. I could
Yeah.
go for that.
That's my first one. And
Takes a
then
bit
my
of learning
second
that
one
one,
I
though.
posted on Twitter over the weekend, underneath the Dan Cassende stats post. So to the theme of Postman Pat theme song.
I wouldn't mention clan, maybe.
Postman Dan in the black and white clan,
Go for
speeding
gang.
down the touchline, leaving them all behind. He delivers tries for the Ospreys every time.
So, and maybe being woke, but I would perhaps change clan to gang.
Yeah, but
Just
that
maybe.
doesn't properly rhyme.
My Justin Timberlake one didn't rhyme, but it's okay. You can make it work. You could go that,
I think I've
oh,
used clan somewhere
Dan
else in
was
one of these
there.
as well, but
Oh no.
Um,
um,
what
Yellow
else we got?
Submarine, the tune of Yellow Submarine
What is
again,
more?
because that's quite a popular rugby one, isn't it? Um, Harry Deves in the yellow headgear, the
The
yellow
yellow
headgear, the
headgear,
yellow
the yellow
headgear. From
headgear,
Pontyclun to the Ospreys, the lad has no fear. In the yellow headgear, the yellow
the yellow
headgear.
headgear. We are winning at
Yeah,
life. If we can get a brass band and we can get these going, do you know what? The world's our oyster,
I'm going to
yeah.
challenge you two now, though. I'll be
oh
watching this on
God,
telly tomorrow night. I want to
right?
hear one of
You
these
want to hear
songs
it?
on telly
Okay.
Okay,
tomorrow night.
I genuinely
okay.
am. I'm gonna try get some of these started because because we
Right, who
need
you got
more
coming
sing
with you
songs.
tomorrow? We'll swap season tickets. So me and you can be together and we can be absolute hooligans.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll write them on some posters so people can join in
Yeah. I
because that's
I
the
yeah,
yeah
we'll
because they
hand them
need to be
out.
a certain level of simplicity for people to follow, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm not going to pay
Um,
any attention to commentary tomorrow. I'm going to be listening to the crowd noise
Gonna
and
be
trying to get those
listening
songs.
to us. Um, yeah, I think we
I
need
got
more.
I've got a Seven Nation Army one.
Yeah, I love that.
Although I'm just trying to match it up with the tune again in my head now. Um, oh, I can't even make that work in my
What's the
head now.
lyrics?
Okay, we'll skip past that one to my final one. The final one is to the tune of "You Are My Sunshine." You are my
Okay.
sunshine. Yeah, blah, blah,
Yeah, we
blah.
know. We don't.
Uh, Dewi from Bridgend, our mighty hooker, throwing his line out straight and true. With every tackle and every carry, he leads the Ospreys smashing through.
Happy
Nice.
days. I love that.
Maybe somebody with a better voice can perfect it.
Do you know what? I think we can get a chance going, guys.
Yeah,
I think we can get them
Yeah,
going.
that
yeah.
sounds good.
Um,
But
you know,
yeah, there's a serious point behind it, isn't there? We do need more
we
songs.
need noise.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
need noise.
Especially
We
when we
need
move to St
something going
Helens
on.
next year, that terrace is going to be prime for this kind of behaviour, isn't it?
yeah. And part of that, I think, is reclaiming some of the classics. So I was having this conversation with my old man who's well into his, his local history, his Welsh history, and he pointed out to me, which is so true, that Calon Lan is a very Ospreys region song
Yeah,
by nature, really. So it was. I've got the details in front of me here. So it was written by
it
Daniel
was written.
James on the
Yeah,
back of a fag packet up in Blaengarw in the
yeah,
1890s. The music was then composed by John Hughes whilst working at the Dyffryn Steelworks in Morriston. So it is truly a
Yeah.
song of the current Ospreys region, comprising Bridgend as well. So we need to reclaim that one. Calon Lan needs to be our region song in the
yeah.
same way that Cardiff will claim that My Hen Rad Vanadai is a Cardiff-based song, even though it was first performed in a
In
chapel in my
Chaplain.
stag, where
Yeah,
I am right now.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, Calon Lan, it's ours. Everybody else, back off.
yeah. Move over, gang.
So we'll
But
definitely do Calon Lan tomorrow,
I
Sam.
think we can certainly, learn from our football brethren to
Yeah,
chant a bit more. Um, I did like the give us our ball back, give us our ball back. So, if they're kind of on an attack, that's what we could chant. Um, but we'll have to get our heads thinking together. And I'm gonna be honest, guys, for someone who sends something in that's really catchy and really amuses me, I'm going to order some more Black Feather merch. There could be some stuff in it for you.
hmm.
We'll do a Sam's comp.
What more
And,
incentive could people want than that, eh?
you know, I'll even write you a nice handwritten note when I send it to you, like I did to the other people. Um, so
But we
yeah,
will share all
chance.
of those ones that we've all
We
just
will, yeah.
terribly sung.
Yeah.
Um, and if anybody wants to improve on them or crack them out in games,
Go for
um,
it. We'll join in.
please do be our guest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
do it. Um, Also, TikTok. I did a TikTok today. It was Uncle Bryn from Gavin and Stacey. Um, to in response to the 1% URC challenge. And we've had some success on TikTok lately, guys, haven't we?
You
And
have
just
anyway.
be
I certainly haven't, but you two have.
well, you know, I'm a big kid at heart. Um, just before we came on air, then the views of Rod was sitting at 2042, and I was on 2043. What's the scores on the doors now, my young Rodri?
Do you want me to check, do you?
No, I got
Well,
you.
you were winning
Tell us.
anyway, so you're only going to have pulled further ahead there. Um, yeah, you're in 2074 now. So yeah,
Happy
you
days.
you've pulled ahead, Sam. Well done, if that's what you want to hear.
I think it's the sound clip because it's from Uncle Bryn from Gavin and Stacey, if I'm being honest. But we will look to do more TikToks because they do quite amuse me a lot. They, apart from my when I see spoilers of my book that's dropped this week and I see the end on TikTok, shame on you, whoever posted that. Um, but that kind of brings us to an end, really. Now, I sometimes have weird thoughts. So, do you ever like think, why do we do that? So for me, milk. Who was the first person that thought, I am gonna go over there, I'm gonna pull that, and I'm gonna drink what comes out. Now, John had a good explanation and thought perhaps they saw the baby drinking the milk and thought if it's
Yeah.
good for the baby, it's good for me. The other one that used to be a head scratcher for me was Jeremy Kyle. Now, I love Jeremy Kyle. I just think, oh my God, right? I love it. What point do you have to be in an argument that you think, sod this, I'm going on Jezza. I need help from Graham and the backroom team. And I have, because I don't sleep very well, I have these thoughts very late at night. And it's these things that kind of come to me in the middle of the night that I can't really get my head round. So do you have any weird thoughts in the middle of the night that a proper sort of like, why? Or is it
My head's
just me?
full of weird thoughts that it's hard to even just extract one because it's just part of the mess in there. I
What
genuinely
are
can't think of anything that's
You could almost
particularly
say to
like,
anything, anything you said about the milk one. It's like meat, I suppose. Who first thought that meat needed cooking?
yeah,
It's like whoever decided to eat animal meat first probably ate it raw. At what
yeah. And then
point
they
did they
thought, oh,
think
flame.
this actually be better if you cooked it and
well,
heated it? But
maybe wildfires.
And
wildfires
it
rip
smelled
through
nice.
a landscape and they go, oh, roast chicken.
yeah.
Yeah, like, but it is, I have these weird sort of like thoughts. And sometimes I'll be like that to John, like, what is, I'll ask him questions. And he's like, I'd love to live in your head. I'd love to know what goes on in your head. Because I get just these weird and wonderful thoughts like this week now. Um, I don't think we've got any people who are listening who will know about the Imperium book series, but the third book came out this week and I proper fallen down a rabbit hole and I love it. It's very young adult fantasy. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Um, but the characters all have their own dragons. And I was like that to John the other day. Do you think dragons really existed? And he's like, I can't see why not, because of dinosaurs. But then I'm like, ah. And then I went on a train of thought about if unicorns and all these other winged lions existed as well. So if anybody's got weird, wonderful thoughts, then jot them down. Let me know. Let me know that I'm not on my own in thinking these random things.
The one I like, but it's pretty well publicized, is you are currently the oldest you have ever been and the youngest you will ever be again at the same time.
You're really trying to depress me now, or
Oh,
what?
my head's
Like,
gone now. My head's gone now.
it's like, hello, hello. It's
Another
like it
weird
don't.
one is why would you live in Southwest Wales and support the Scarlets?
Yeah, you know,
I like
right?
that.
Like, why? Why would you?
To finish it with a slight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
you
That's
annoy those Scarlets fans. You annoy them.
is that
Um,
what it is this week? It's a Sam's random thought, not a Sam's random question.
yeah,
I
random,
guess I guess you
random
asked us
thought.
if we had any.
Yeah, it's like my brain goes in random directions, and then I think to myself, do other people have these conversations in their head? Because I was reading or I was listening to a podcast about people who can't close their eyes and visualize anything. It's like they've got no imagination,
Mm.
or they like there's people out there who don't have an inner voice in their head.
Lucky people.
Can you imagine that?
Mine's on the
It
go
must be so
constantly.
blissful.
Oh, it must be lovely not to have that in your head constantly.
Just
Yeah.
not there. Like I have full on combos with myself in my head.
Mm,
So this is me just reassuring myself that I'm normal, really.
mm.
But you know,
We're all
yeah,
weird, aren't we?
in our own very special way, we're all snowflakes. It's all good in the hood. But I hope we've kept you entertained a little bit tonight, guys. Um, Chants is obviously a big thing for us now. We love it. It's, something that we can really, really, really get our heads around. Um, and I just think you should send us in your chants and we'll
Hmm.
see if we can get them up and running
And we
while we've
will
been on
perform
this
them
as
to you
well.
every week.
Yeah, you know, we get
New
Rod to.
segment.
I can't believe you didn't know the My Old Man's a Dustman song.
I do know it. I recognize the tune. I didn't know it by name. Didn't know it by name.
Could you
It's
sing
an
any of
age
it?
thing again, isn't it, Sam? It's an age thing again.
It is.
And I'm not remotely a football fan, so I'm not that well versed in football chants. I don't think I've watched a
Um,
football game from start to finish in my life.
some of them are all right. Some of them are pretty okay. I think you've just got to find your team really.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and go from there. But I think we can certainly get on board with the chance thing. We can therefore do the chance thing. But send them in to us. We'll perform them. Um, make them obscure as well, like to obscure music, to like stuff that Rod doesn't know. Like, because if I was to say to Rod now, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat, what's the next line?
Something about a cat.
No, he
No,
no, he
Not a
wears
clue.
or
cobbliny
blimey
trousers. Now,
trousers.
what do you
Lives in
think
a
of
council
that?
flat.
Okay,
Yeah,
no.
and he lives in a council flat. It's like the Christmas songs, in it. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? While shepherds watch their flocks by night, all eating beans round the fire. Let's not. I got some really bad ones that my dad taught me when I was little. Do you know the To Market with my Uncle Jim song?
No.
Nope.
To market with my Uncle Jim. Somebody threw a tomato at him. Tomatoes went soft and nice for the skin, but this bugger wasn't because it came in a tin. That's the kind of thing I was taught when I was little. Um, but if you can get something along those lines, then yeah, I think we should. We don't have a brass band in Swansea, but we do have a brass band in South Wales. However, we do have marching bands with those xylophones on
Oh,
things.
Mm.
with the kazoos.
Yeah, could be a
That's
Swansea
that's not the
thing.
same. The kazoos wouldn't
It's a
sound.
Swansea thing, that is, having a marching band.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Um,
2025. You could just have a guy with a speaker, to be honest, play in some stuff that sounds like there's a band in the corner.
Well, we could
Nobody know
beatboxing,
the difference.
beatboxing. As long as I'm going to be controversial again. As long as we don't have Josh Navidi DJing in a corner, because I'm not being funny. That's not where your skill lies, mate. It's not there.
There has to
Um,
be a Salvation Army band in Swansea, surely, isn't there? Well, they can't play in
There's got to be
Sunday,
options. There's got to be
they
options.
can play in a Friday and a Saturday. They can't play in Sunday matches, but they'll play in a Saturday.
no, no, but they can do it. Um, oh God, I got a really black sense of humour. And the year that Elf was out, my mum got taken into hospital on Christmas Eve with septicemia, really bad. And I spent all night Christmas, and this is related to the Salvation Army. Spent all night sitting by the bedside with her because she's allergic to penicillin. And when she first went into hospital, they gave her penicillin by mistake.
Mm.
So I sat next to her in the bed, and Christmas morning, the Sally Army were there playing Hark the Herald Angels sing. And my mum's there now, like, and without opening her eyes or missing a beat, and excuse my language, she went, oh, fucking great, I'm dead. Because she thought she was in heaven. And I was like, it's the Sally Army band, but I'm really glad you're awake. It was just like completely, and it was so
God bless
lovely. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. It was really lovely. Hark the Herald Angels sang. I'd been sleeping in this chair all night, and that's what she turns round and says.
Christ almighty. She
Yeah.
thought she was at the Golden Gate.
Honestly, what a sports knows my mother. Football, rugby, cricket, snooker, darts. She loves them all. Absolutely loves them all and knows what she's talking about. 76 years of age. Now there's a hooligan for you. Absolute rager. But we'll bring it to an end, guys. Get those chants into us. We're looking forward to tomorrow evening. We'll all be on our socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, as per usual. Banner will be up as normal. Any questions that you've got for our guests next week, send them in. And I'm going to be on my best behaviour. Sort of, maybe. I'll try. But have a good week, everyone. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Let's keep up that winning momentum. And ole, 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 Ospreys. Ospreys.
I'm Line Ospreys.
Hello, Callan Lamb.
Ta-ra.